Real property and personal property. Definition and difference. Much of business law deals with property. There are actually two different types of property: personal property and real property. This lesson explains the difference between these two types of property. Property. There are two types of property. In legal terms, all property will be classified as either personal property and real property. This distinction between types of property comes from English common law, but our modern laws continue to distinguish between the two. The law on real property. There are obligations and duties that come with ownership of real property. For instance, property owners must pay state and local property tax. If a property owner fails to pay tax, the property can be sold by the municipality to pay the tax owed. Property owners also must keep their property in reasonably safe condition. Personal property. Personal property is a class of property that can include any asset other than real estate. The distinguishing factor between personal property and real estate or real property is that personal property is movable. That is, it isn't fixed permanently to one particular location. Real property such as land or most kinds of buildings is not movable. Things you should remember about personal property and real property. Anything that can be legally owned may be called property. All property can be grouped into two main categories: real property and personal property. Personal property can be further classified as cattle and intangibles. One reason to know this category is simply to understand what other property lawyers are talking about. Of course, knowing the categories can also help you decide which rules should apply to a particular item of property and which remedies are applicable for a violation of property rights. Real property, land and buildings. Real property describes land and things that are attached to the land, which is why land is sometimes called real estate or realty. Even though wood, steel, and other buildings material aren't lands themselves, when they are built into structures attached to the land, they become real property too. Trees and other plants naturally growing on the land are also part of the real property, but plants that require regular human cultivation and labor, such as grains and vegetables, sometimes aren't treated as part of the real property. Personal property cattle. A cattle such as a finance can be affixed to land and become part of the real property. Such cattle are called fixtures. However, fixtures may retain their quality as separate personal property for certain purposes. For example, at the end of lease terms, a tenant generally has the right to remove fixtures she installed even though she doesn't have any more right to real property when the lease ends. Personal property, intangibles. Intangibles are all kinds of personal property that are not tangible, that can be seen or touched. A person can own all sorts of intangible things, including the following: 1. Bank accounts. 2. Franchises and licenses. 3. Insurance policies. 4. Intellectual property such as patents, copyrights, and trademarks. And the last, stocks, bonds, promissory notes, and similar documents that are not themselves valuable but merely represent intangible rights. Currency is sometimes treated as an intangible. Property rights, things that can be owned. Some things can't be owned at all and therefore can be private property. Some of these things, such as light, air, and the high seas, can be owned because they naturally seem communal. Other things, such as rivers and coastal water, can be owned because they belong to the public. And some things can be owned because they are illegal, like heroin. That's all about my personal project. Thank you. I hope you can enjoy it.